So over the last few weeks, we've been seeing several events get canceled, specifically due to the coronavirus that has been spreading throughout the world. And good news about that. Since the coronavirus has been labeled a sensitive topic on YouTube, it is something that it seems anyway they've been looking into. So I guess they're going to work on removing that as a sensitive topic that their bots pick up, which is great. I'm starting to see yellow dollar signs in my sleep. Anyway, we've of course seen South by Southwest get canceled. We talked about GDC getting canceled, and all these companies have had to call audibles, whether they're live streaming their event themselves, like Microsoft set up for GDC and Facebook has done with Oculus, or even maybe a Sega Direct that is going to have to be formed pretty quickly with South by Southwest not happening. And I think Sega had at least a brand new Sonic game. That's probably why they are going to the extent of doing some kind of live stream themselves in April. So naturally, when E3 comes into question, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of moving parts that need to be reorganized very quickly. E3 is 3 months away. Well, it was supposed to be, because last night word started to go around that the ESA and the organization, of course, getting E3 together, was starting to contact publishers and developers about the possibility, or seemingly the inevitability, that E3 would not be taking place in the form that we've known E3 to be taking place since 94, 95. It's been a long time, and every year we've had E3. Looks like this year is going to be a bit different. If we move over to their page, they did finally post it. We had so many rumors and speculation going around last night that it seemed obvious that it was going to happen. But if we go over here, they have now posted E3 2020 canceled due to growing concerns over the coronavirus after careful consultation with our member companies regarding the health and safety of everyone in our industry, our fans, our employees, our exhibitors, and our longtime E3 partners. We have made the difficult decision to cancel E3 2020, scheduled for June 9th to the 11th in Los Angeles. Our team will be reaching out directly to exhibitors and attendees with information about providing full refunds. Some of those refunds are going to be fairly sizable, as it does cost quite a bit to go to E3. And they're saying we're also exploring options with our members to coordinate an online experience to showcase industry announcements and news in June 2020. Updates will be shared on e3expo.com. This is probably the worst year for Jeff Keighley not to be going now, and maybe talks will open back up about Jeff possibly hosting some sort of show throughout the week. I think that would be best case scenario for the ESA and E3 to do a live streamed event like that. And this is going to have sweeping ramifications everywhere. Seriously, all these companies right now are trying to figure out what they're going to be doing in 3 months' time. It's not a lot of time to get things situated and organized. Now, Nintendo, of course, they do their Nintendo Direct. To them, okay, we're not going to do the Treehouse live at E3. Maybe we'll just do it at one of our locations. Maybe they'll just set up shop in one of their branches. They'll have a whole room dedicated to it. They'll bring people in. It's harder because not everyone is there, like scheduled for like everyone's at E3, right? So you can set time up and all this. They'd have to fly all these people out, all these developers out to talk about their game in the Treehouse. They could still do that. They could say, hey, block off these 3 days. We're going to have you on one of these 3 days in the Treehouse, and then you can head back to your studio. E3 was just more convenient because everyone was already there. But I think Nintendo, their plans will be pretty straightforward. They'll show a Direct, they'll do some Treehouse stuff, and it'll be business as usual for all of us at home. Microsoft will be the interesting one because they are at the building across the street that I believe has their name on it. That one could still happen just because they might show up, although they would still have several people gather. So maybe they also do something like an Inside Xbox that doesn't have a big live audience. They seem to be having similar concerns around the coronavirus after what's happened with GDC, where they decided to also not go, and that was before GDC canceled. So Microsoft is also a bit concerned about the spread of this virus, so they could do their own live stream event as well. Now, I think we'll talk a bit about this in Newswave tomorrow, specifically the plans of all these different companies, because as of now, the news is still coming out from all these different companies as to what they are going to do. We've kind of found out now that WB was even going to try to have their own event, and we finally would have found out what Rocksteady is working on right now. So, all right, we'll see there. But we'll talk a bit about that as we're starting to see more and more companies, developers, publishers start to come out with information as to their plans and what they're going to be doing in June. Doesn't have to even be June, really, right? It could be like May or even July or something. I think if you get into August, you're getting a little too close to possibly releases that could be in September, for example. So I think early summer is when you still want to have these presentations, still maybe around E3 time. Now, one key line here is the last one. It says, "We thank everyone who shared their views on reimagining E3 this year. We look forward to bringing you E3 2021 as a reimagined event that brings fans, media, and the industry together in a showcase that celebrates the global video game industry." So if you remember, Jeff Keighley mentioned that he wasn't a big fan of the vision, the scope, and what they were trying to do with E3 this year. Maybe the ESA will take the time and step back and look at this event and decide how they can shape it, change it, mold it, maybe make it more current. And they're kind of alluding that there with a reimagined event. I'd like to think that they will take advantage of this time where, okay, look, they still wanted to have obviously, they wanted to have E3. We have it every year. It's fun for fans, right? Even if you're not going, we know there is a week blocked off where we're going to get nonstop video game announcements straight up. And it's great because we can schedule around it. Maybe you are someone who takes off a couple days from work and you're just like, I'm going to sit home and I'm going to watch this show because it's like once a year and it's for the gamer and we can see some cool stuff. Now it could be more scattered. That's one of the reasons I liked E3, not because of the event itself necessarily. Like, I think if I went to E3, I'd have fun meeting people and seeing some cool stuff, but everything else is waiting in lines and trying to get through certain events and schedule, and it's a whole thing. But like hanging out at home and watching the live streams and all the cool stuff, that was always the best part. So, all right, we're not going to have E3. What are we going to have? Because they're talking about a digital experience. And that's kind of where we are now. It's kind of like, all right, no E3 as we know it, a live event. So now what? And the obvious thing here is that they have the week still blocked off. They just schedule everyone to do their live streams. It's going to be hard, though, to convince these different publishers, developers to schedule the stream around E3's time because they can just do it when they want, right? Oh, okay, we'll do it the last week of June because that's when we want our marketing roadmap to start. All right, that's when we're going to do it. No, they don't really need to fit into the E3 mold anymore of, okay, June 9th, 10th, 11th, we have to be ready to go. That's that. They could even go earlier. Maybe some of these publishers are like, well, we would have been ready in May. Let's just drop it then. Seriously, we heard about WB having their own event. That would have been interesting. That would have been the first time they've done that. But WB has some stuff to show off. So yeah, they could. I mean, how long have we heard about Batman? A while. And that's when we all assumed, okay, E3, maybe they're just ready to go in May. They're like, oh, let's show off Batman. We'll show off Rocksteady and that Harry Potter game and the Lego stuff that we probably have. It could be a fun show. So as long as they still have some sort of streams that take place, to be honest, it won't be that much different for most of us that stay home. It's the people that go that will, of course, be affected by this. But I'm not even talking about just fans. The idea of E3 at its roots is to be a trade show, a place where you can have smaller developers talk with big publishers or even retailers, although I think that's kind of fallen out. But you still have a lot of online retailers and companies like you see limited run games who are trying to snag exclusive deals to print different games and put them out there for big publishers or developers, I should say indie developers. That element being taken away will actually affect some games and the likelihood of them even happening. An idea going from just that, an idea to a game, tends to happen at E3. A great example. Remember how we heard that Reggie had an effect on Starlink, right? Where originally he had seen the game and said, hey, maybe we could make something out of this with Star Fox. And remember, he pulled him into a room, they talked about it, and that's how it ended up happening. Star Fox shows up in Starlink, and I mean, to be honest, that was the best part of Starlink. I still can't remember the other main characters' names, but I do know that the missions for Star Fox were awesome. That apparently came out of a happenstance on, oh, Reggie sees this game, let's get the developers, let's get Star Fox, let's put this together. Those are the things that won't be around anymore if there is no E3 going forward. Seriously, there is something to having that face-to-face conversation or passing by and even presenting an idea in person over email. It's much harder to get people's attention over an email, right? Or even over a phone call, as opposed to seeing them in person and presenting your idea right there in like a conference room or something at E3. Of course, those are usually more secure, so if a system is even being shown before the presentation, a couple NDAs here and there, and then boom, we can talk to you more in depth about this system rather than go, again, over a phone call or over an email chain where it's technically less secure. If we just have you walk in, sign something physically, and now you can take a look at this system, here are the specs, can you guys have something ready for us in the first year? Those are the things that can take place at E3 or at GDC even. Whereas I think GDC, of course, will be around going forward. E3 is the one in question, and that is the biggest event for video games every year. All I know is whatever they have planned, E3, they themselves have planned to substitute for the live event this year has to be very, very interesting. And I hope they come up with something fun, but I mean, they'd have to plan this thing out in 3 months, and that is the problem. They're up against the clock right now. So sure, they could do some digital events. That would be fun. They could play around with the idea of demos. They could even make a whole VR Coliseum thing where you get to put on some VR glasses and walk around in the E3 event that they've made digitally. Do they have the time to get all that done, though? That's kind of my question, my point now. I almost feel like they don't. So I think we're going to get there, and it's going to be a basic show. They might convince some people, some developers and publishers to show their game, right, at their panels or their schedule they have set up. But otherwise, it might feel kind of like the Game Awards, just minus the Game Awards. Either way, it has been a weird year so far, and we are just into March. So it's going to be something going forward. This is so strange because E3 has always been something we've had every single year, but not this year. It's been a long time. It's been 25 years, since we've not had an E3, and before then we didn't even know what it was. It was just this brand new thing. Oh, gaming is changing. Yeah, it really is. But we'll see what happens with E3 now that it's been canceled and what their plans are going forward. But let me know what you guys think about this situation down below with E3 no longer happening, and now what? What do? They apparently want to do something, but can they convince developers and publishers to go on E3's time rather than them just say, well, we're going to live stream it anyway. We'll just set it up ourselves. Don't worry about it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not, and I'll see you guys next time.